Hello, Milky friends. It is Milkstu back for part two of The Void. So, my Lumina energy has recharged to the point where I think I can finish level one. But the other thing I wanted to point out before we go on is the fact that you don't actually need any more 10-star heroes, bless, to upgrade your heroes from E5 at level 330, one of these, to level, say, 345. You just press this up button. And so then the question becomes, well, if I can upgrade heroes to level 345 without any more 10-star heroes, and guys, you can only upgrade your level to 345 if you've passed Aspen, what is it? It'll tell us here. If you get to Aspen, or hell, get to death. Well, if you finish hell, then you can expand the cap of all levels by 15, and obviously you need to finish death by 20. So, knowing that, you're kind of like, well, Melkster, what the fuck do I do? Do I, upgrade to 345 the PvP heroes or the heroes that'll get me through Aspen? I fucked up. In hindsight, I thought, I'll do the PvP heroes because, you want to get orbs for Black Friday, shit like that. So I did like Drake. I did as well Russell. And then I started doing Belrain. And then I was like, hang the fuck on. What's the point of doing that? I should be doing, in the first instance, heroes that crossover between usefulness for Aspen and usefulness for PvP. And really, the only heroes that fall into that crossover is Russell and Sherlock. So I completely fucked up. I should have upgraded my stats for Russell and one of my Sherlocks that I use for Aspen. And then maybe an Ada, right? Because the objective now, guys, is to finish Aspen so you can get to 350. Like, getting 345, yeah, it's all nice and good. But if you see guys at 350, you're like, oh, fuck, why don't I get to 350? Surely that extra 5 levels is more an advantage. And that's my thinking right now, right? So if I had my time to do it again, it'd be do Russell first, then do Sherlock, or one or the other, right? Heroes that have dual purpose in both Aspen Dungeon and as well as PvP. So, like, within that tier, I would also do Tix as well, simply because Tix seems to be useful for both at this point in time, right? As for everyone else, it's up in the air, right? It's Belrain's usually always there, Drake is always there, and then everyone's probably going to do Kerry and Rogan. You're probably not going to have enough resources to do everyone, so you have to prioritize, but that's what I'm thinking in terms of prioritization. But back to Void. So Void, since we've last spoken, I've done a bit more thinking about Voids, and obviously there are... Firstly, let's do one of these summons, because I've seen everyone else do it. I could only afford to buy one, so if you're thinking about when to get those compasses to do these summons here, are they called compasses? Are they? Yeah, they are compasses. You can only really get them two places. You can get it in the marketplace, which is here, and then it's... Sorry, they're not compasses. They're cores of transcendence. It's 1,500 a piece, and so you're like, well, is that worth it? Well, remains to be seen. You got to keep in mind, a 5-star food tier hero is 400 gems, right? So they're asking for over, one factor of 3, factor of 4, close, somewhere between 3 and 4, a normal 5-star hero just for one, but obviously with a very high chance, not a high chance, but a chance to get one of the heroes on the left or on the right, right? So a 1.25% chance to get a hero on the left or on the right. Is it worth it? Up to you. And if you're wondering where to buy more of those cores, if you're filthy rich, you buy it here. Cool events, not limit events, but cool events. And I'm like, let's just see what they're going to give Black Friday, because fuck me, that is so expensive. But let's just go ahead and just do my peasant one summons, and let's see what we get. So let's just join a couple of these dots. Join all of them. Yeah, we'll join. Yep. So, like, you're guaranteed a 5-star, but fuck me, is it expensive? And obviously, when you do the summons, you're not really doing it for these heroes. You're basically doing it to get this, right? So they're saying it's about 15... Well, what are they saying? They're effectively saying it's 1,500 gems for one core, right? But you got to take away the food that you get from that, right? So the food that you get associated with that, so let's say it's 400. then it's only 1100. They're saying about 7 to however many of these you get, right? These purple crystal things. They're saying it's effectively, you can buy them at 1100 gems for every 7,000. And so then you're like, well, that's one value. Now we've got, mines that we can use to do value analysis. And I probably need to do a separate video on value analysis on this whole void event. Right now, I don't have enough data points. But anyway, we're here to finish Realms Gate. Time has passed. I can finish the last 2 Realms Gate. So we can go here and we can do this. And so I've been watching some of Jimmy Bear's videos again. And basically, this particular mode with these question marks, right? So anytime you see these question mark events, like I'm doing now, which is called Void Vault, right? Void Vault. These are the poorest value in terms of what you get in return. Like, you should just avoid Void Vaults, especially if you're hunting for the crystals, because they are just shit value. So if we get in here, there's one more chest. Oh, there's only 2 chests. But in terms of what you get, like, you got to spend 10 Lumina energy, and like for an orb, because the price range different. Well, the price range differences varies enough that you can either get 200 gems, which is, or 1 scroll, or 1 prophet orb, and those are all different in terms of gem value, right? Because you go anywhere from 125 to 450 gems, but it's the same cost. So like, in terms of bang for buck, I would argue this particular square, the Void Vault, is just terrible value, and you should just avoid it at all costs. The other thing that I've realized you should avoid at all costs is this piece of shit Idle Ruins, right? Idle Ruins, what you get, so if you scroll back to the side of this video, I was like, what the fuck do you get with that charm? That charm turns up in your bag, this Void Inventory bag. So if you have a fucking weak team, you should collect these Voids. But I'm like, god damn, you just don't get a lot. Anyway, we're going to enter the final doodad. We're going to face, hopefully, the puppet. So first we'll fight you, and we'll battle you, and that should be okay. Then we'll go fight you, and hopefully we have enough to finish it off. Yep. Then we will fight the puppet. Should be enough. Yes, thank you. Puppet's done. Void's open. And there we go, guys. We've completed 1 level. So, and if you're wondering, you basically, this Lumina bar recharges every day, every 24 hours, right? So it takes 24 hours to get another 240. But in terms of what you should avoid when you chart your course and avoid on this particular map, you should absolutely avoid, what is it? You should avoid these question marks, because you just don't know what you're going to get. You should avoid these Idle Ruins. You should avoid Void Crystals. This one I haven't done yet, and I'm tempted to do it. But in Jimmy Bear's video, he was saying, some of these chest ones are valuable, like especially if it's a Void treasure. And the way to tell whether or not it's a Void treasure versus a normal treasure is you look at the ring on the treasure chest, right? So if you see this key, right, on the treasure chest, this key-shaped hole, that's not the chest that you want. That's not the valuable one, right? You want, like, some other stuff. I know that doesn't make a great deal of sense. Let me pull up his guide. So Jimmy's guide is pretty useful. I kind of finally worked out what he's saying. I don't know if it's actually true, but I finally have been able to decipher his guide. So if I go to our Discord on our guild, don't switch. So where are we? So the Void. So I know you guys can't see it. Okay, so this is Jimmy Bear's graphic. All credit to him. I didn't put it together. But he's effectively saying this is the value order. If you were farming for those crystals, then this is the value, right? So, and you can see here the difference between the different chest types that I was talking about. You see how there's the normal treasure, the one he has in the red bracket. You look at the keyhole, how that's the shape of a key. But then you look at the Void treasure chest one. It's not the keyhole is not in the shape of a key. So these are valuable ones. And so he's saying you should absolutely go for these. I can't tell you what the value is until I actually unlock one of these. Then he's saying the mining one is the next most valuable one, and I have to agree with him. It's the mining one. These Void Crystal ones, he says, is RNG, right? I don't know what the RNG part is, but I definitely agree with him. The Void Vault, this green one here is completely useless, and the buff one is completely useless. So, where are we going? This one, the Idle Ruins, that's just fucking avoid that, because all you do is you get these idle charms, and there's not really neither here or there. This one I'm going to do next just to see what you may or may not get, simply because I haven't gotten it yet. But yeah, that's the video. I mean, like, it's still confusing. I like, in the absence of like better information, just play the game, and Jimmy's guide is probably as good as it gets. I still need to do my value analysis. I need to play it more before we get there. But yeah, that's the compass of the Transcendence. It's more fun. I think it's good. It's more content out there. Yeah, we're not all going to get Seer on the first day, Void Seer, but that's okay. I'm not going to spend $2,000. I'd rather buy more shares. But if you got lots of money, go for it. But in terms of upgrading your heroes, like I said, you want to crossover upgrade. You want to upgrade the crossover heroes. It's that are used in PvP and Aspen. So Russell, Sherlock, and Tix. Don't do everyone else. Don't do Drake and whatchamacallit, Belrain like I did. That was a fucking mistake. Like, I spent a lot of gems to buy a lot of gold today. The other thing that to note in the marketplace is they've also now, which is a good thing, I think, they've given you this 150 million gold for 100 million dust option. It's effectively the same as this 30 for 20, because if you multiply both by 5, then you realize on a spirit per gold basis, it's the exact same package. If you've got the cash, buy this, and I probably will buy it if I can muster enough. No, I'm too poor. I should save my money. I should save my gems because the gem boxes are coming up. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts on Void. It's a bit scattered. You really have to play it to really understand it. I will do my value analysis later this week, mid next week, when I have more information. Because there's a couple of things that are going through my head in terms of value right now. So it's like, even though when you look at these individual squares, or hex, is it hex? 6 sides, hexagons. When you look at each of these different hexagons in the event inside them, you would assume, well, Melksul, surely it's about maximizing the amount of crystals I get per Lumina energy. And when I talk about crystals, obviously I'm talking about they've got like a million names for this thing. What is it called? That purple thing? Core of Transcendence. So we'll just call it COT, right? So those COT crystals. So those COT crystals that you can get, you would be like, well, surely it's about maximizing the amount of COT crystals I can get per Lumina energy, and that's simply it. I'm not necessarily certain if it's that easy. If it was that easy, then Jimmy's guide is, like, I would argue, pretty spot on, right? So what you see here and what he's done, I would reckon that's bang on the money, right? What I'm not sure of right now is if it's better to, for example, even though I've told you to avoid this Idle Ruins event, the reality is the cost to do this event is much less than some of the other ones, right? And so it's a question of, well, if I can skip through these inconsequential squares faster to get to, say, like one of these puppet squares, which does give you a lot of crystals per Lumina energy. Surely that's a better strategy than doing just maximizing along the way my COTS per Lumina energy, right? What's better, to go quick and finish all 5 levels, or to hit these puppets? And so then we're only interested in doing basically the easiest squares that consume the least amount of energy, or are we doing the other path and we're just looking for the squares that give us the most amount of COT crystals per Lumina energy? those are the two key questions, the trade-off that I don't have resolved in my mind, and I need to answer that with numbers. That might not make a lot of sense to you guys, but if it does, tell me below in the comments that it does. Otherwise, hope you enjoy the new Void. I think I was hesitant about it, but now that I've played it and I've understood it more, I think it's a good addition to the Idle Heroes game. Thanks, guys, and have a great week.